I might need some of your papers. Good evening, councillors, and welcome to this Sandwich Town Council meeting of the council on Monday the 28th of April 2025. So I hope you enjoyed the pre-meeting. Hopefully it gives us a bit of an appetite for taking things forward in the future. As you can see, the consultation work has all been done, recommendations have all been done, and as I say, that's only one of several that are sitting on the shelf that we can make use of. So I'm sure Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Franklin remember the ones before that, even the rummy one, and that's 2016. But exactly.
Wasn't it out of date, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Not out of date.
Exactly. Item number 1, Chair's opening remarks. I only had a few here, so just want to say, number 1, thank you for all coming, and of course I thought it was, and the town clerk as well, thought that the annual town meeting was a great success last week, and judge it for yourself. There weren't a lot of the public there, so were they didn't have any issues or concerns, or was it apathy, or was there a good football match on the television? I'm not sure, but we had quite a good bunch of senior members and staff there, and I thought it was very good to see 3 police officers in the same place at the same time. So
like buses.
Yeah.
I was exactly. No, you don't. I was very pleased. So I was very pleased on that. So I think that went down very well, and I thank the town clerk for the presentation she gave, because I think that gives a good visual instead of just hearing my voice all the time. So thank you very much for that. So just to update the councillors, I just wanted to tell you, give you an update. Bay Hall, which we thought was after the negotiations between myself and the property manager and the other party, the buyers, was due to go ahead on Friday, but due to there was a little hiccup to do with something called overage, which had to be amended, so we were waiting for a document to come in. That document's now come in and it's been sent off, so as soon as that's signed off, we're expecting exchange sometime this week, early part of this week hopefully. But I thought I'd update you so you know where you are, because at the last meeting you said, oh, go and sort this out, Mr. Mayor. So I have done, and it's due to happen any day now. So I also wanted to say about yesterday, because yesterday when the sun shone and we had, gosh, about nearly 200 people on the Guildhall forecourt, it was Sandwich's turn to host the very successful District Scouts event, and this meant scouts and guides and cubs and everything from all over the district, Dover, Deal, Walmer and everywhere like that, all came here to Sandwich, had chosen Sandwich as their place to come along to and to make use of the great facilities at St Mary's Church. And myself and the Mayor of Deal kept up the heritage and traditions of the Cinque Ports to lead the parade, along with my very own assistant town clerk, who was the mace bearer for the day. So, but that really put Sandwich on the map, and not only did it bring all those cubs and scouts, but it brought all the parents and the carers and guardians as well. So there was a very large footfall. If only we could repeat that every weekend, it'd be good. So then also I wanted to say about this reminder, and this was brought up as well by Richard Ralph, was to do with the DDC walking and cycling consultation. Now, I wasn't able to get onto it until the weekend, and when I did get onto it, I was sort of absolutely awestruck, and I went, wow, this is fantastic. They've got an organisation in which I've worked with many years ago called Sustrans, who are transport consultants, and they've done a total consultation and survey on all the district towns, Dover, Deal and Sandwich, and the recommendations they've put in for Sandwich are brilliant, absolutely mind-blowing, so they're really, really good, and hopefully if we can get them underway, then it could make a big difference. One of the areas actually is to do with the toll bridge. So the lines that we're thinking along of how can we change the toll bridge or improve pedestrian and cyclist action, they've already addressed it. So they've done a lot of the hard work for us there.
Are we going to be consulted on this, Trans? Because I think some of the stuff I don't agree with, like Basin sort of being having a footpath in for it.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, quite possibly. We could ask them to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to look at a mini working group or something.
Yeah.
Just to make our own comments about it.
Oh, sure, yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I could. I'll speak to
Because I don't like the cyclists on the town walls, because I don't think they realise the heritage of the town walls.
No, exactly.
It is on the agenda later on this evening, so we're going to have a full discussion here.
Yeah.
There will be follow-on
But
actions.
we can follow up actions there. So, and the last thing I just wanted to say was just a little thank you to all of you, because this is the last meeting of the mayoral year, and then obviously there's going to be elections coming up. So I just want to say my thank you for the past 2 years. It's been a privilege and an honour, and I think we've done a pretty good job rebuilding the council from what it was when we took it over. I don't know if all of you remember, I won't sort of upset your brains as it were, but you know, in 2021-22 the council was in a pretty poor shape, so thank you very much for helping me to rebuild the council.
Thank you, mate.
Item number 2 is apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies, Town Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so Councillor Black is absent due to illness. Councillor Breen has an illness. Councillor Daniel Carter a travel commitment, and Councillor Gray a travel commitment. And Councillor Chandler also sends her apologies for this evening.
Right, thank you very much for that. That's excellent news there. Item number 3 is declarations of interest. And this is to receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda this evening. Did anybody have any declarations at all? Oh, Councillor Anderson.
Well, I don't have a pecuniary interest, but item 14 is a licensing application for the Jubilee Centre.
Oh, indeed.
And 2 councillors present are trustees of the Jubilee Centre. We haven't got a pecuniary interest.
No, of course not. No.
But I just need some advice as to what
Indeed.
What we are able to do.
So it is for members. I'm not here to tell you, obviously you're declaring the interest. It's for you really to, decide whether or not you want to partake in the debate, whether you want to vote. So I'll leave that to you. I'm not here to tell you, how you should behave in that capacity. That's for members to decide. I don't actually.
Okay. Well,
but what I would say is, if you've declared the interest to the council, then obviously you fulfilled the role. You're not here, hiding anything. You are being upfront and transparent.
So, I think Councillor Morehouse wants to say something, and then Councillor Pennington. Councillor Morehouse.
Yeah, item 15, Town Clerk, as Chair of the Community Events Association. I would like to participate in the debate, however, as I will refrain from voting.
Indeed, which I think is the best option. So, Councillor Pennington, did you want to address the council?
Well, I'm comfortable with that. I think in general, the experience and knowledge of trustees can be quite useful to the council, but one has to respect their conscience, and if they feel they shouldn't vote, they shouldn't vote.
Indeed, that's correct. Thank you for that.
I would be the same as Councillor Morehouse with regard to item 15.
Oh, super.
Yeah, same.
Oh, super. All right. Did you get all those
I did.
members? And did you get all the trustees of the...
Yes, Councillor Tompkins and Councillor Anderson.
Oh, super. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much, councillors. Item number 4 is minutes of the full council meeting and committees. and this is to approve the minutes of the full council meeting of Sandwich Town Council held on the 24th of March 2025, and to consider any matters arising from those minutes not covered elsewhere in this agenda. And this is attachment number 1. Attachments all numbered. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's that. Got that. Thank you very much. So, did I have somebody to propose, first of all, to propose and second these minutes, and then we'll go on to the matters arising?
Okay.
Okay. Was anybody prepared to?
I'll
Councillor Wiles proposing, and Councillor Anderson is seconding. Thank you. And did we have any matters arising? Councillor Wiles, please stand.
Yep, 25.8, the report from Councillor Chandler, Kent County Councillor. Councillor Anderson asked for an update on the Wayfarers building as was. I cycle past that quite often. It shows no sign of occupation whatsoever. So I just wondered if any response has been received about that building.
I haven't
And
received
I've just noticed there's a word missing actually in the minute. As Councillor Anderson asked if work had begun on the old Wayfarers building as there had been activity, it should be as there had been no activity.
We can amend that. So, but perhaps the town clerk could ask for that information.
Can I just clarify something? So a few months ago, it has been. I do believe the works have been completed. However, it's not up to KCC's regarding the building anymore because it's private ownership now. It's going to be obviously it's going to be turned into housing for people with adult learning disabilities. All I know is it's a private establishment now, so KCC won't ever have any intervention on it unless due to the social care needs that are required. So maybe I don't think Councillor Chandler will have those answers, or KCC will have those answers for you.
Sorry.
Although she may have the contact details of who we can contact, perhaps for that. So we're still working on it.
My understanding is it was leased to the organisation. I don't know what the terms of the lease are, but if they're paying a rent and there's no one living there, how are they? It's all a very murky enterprise. We need some answers about what's happening.
We do, and when we think about it was underutilised for over 2 years. It was empty. Nobody was in there, and the elderly residents that were in there all got ejected over to Westgate-on-Sea. So they could have been there for over 3 years now, and they haven't been able to. Oh, Councillor Moore.
We know that it was up for sale, but we don't know for sure whether it was sold. So miles suggest.
No, exactly. So
So we need clarification.
we will go via Councillor Chandler to get some answers on this, because it's not good enough that that facility is sitting there and it's not actually being used, and we don't really want it, being wasted like that with all that money.
I think alongside this, the point worth noting really is that we were told all the time that it wasn't suitable for alterations to make it suitable for the elderly people and what was needed.
That's
And I
correct.
think if anybody raising any questions, I'd really like a response to that. How that was determined, and obviously that changed because it has been altered.
It has been altered, you're right, and we were told it wasn't going to be. Councillor Moore.
I was just about to say that. I didn't say civil alterations.
Thank you very much. And then the second
Sorry,
item.
Mr. Chairman, you had a proposal and a second.
Oh, sorry, did I? I beg your pardon. Sorry, I lost track of the thing there. So, all those in favour of the minutes, please show with your cards. Thank you very much.
That's two abstentions. Thank you.
And the next item is to receive the minutes of the planning committee held on the 10th of March 2025. And do I have a proposer and a seconder for that? Councillor Chuka, who was chairing. Were you chairing? No, I don't think you were actually. And Councillor Franklin, who was chairing the meeting. All those in favour, please show. Any abstentions? Two abstentions.
Send apologies.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That item is passed. Thank you very much. Next we have to receive the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee, which was held on the 12th of March 2025. First of all, do I have a proposer and a seconder for the Finance and General Purposes meeting minutes? That's Councillor Pennington is proposing, Councillor Chuka is seconding. All those in favour, please show. One abstention there. That item is passed. Was there any matters arising off of those committee minutes?
Well, I was just going to say about the comment about the tap at the chapel, because you know where I live, and that tap is used quite a lot. People don't
probably.
Yeah, but there's a lot of elderly people with their other half, interred in the cemetery. They do take flowers, and they're not going to carry like half a gallon of water up there, and they do refresh some with little shrubs on them, so that tap is used quite a lot, and it's very much appreciated by the people that got people interred in the cemetery.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you very much for telling us
You
that.
get the occasional child playing with, but it's far out away by the...
Thank you very much, Councillor Franklin. That's very good to have local knowledge like that. So, and then lastly, to receive the minutes of the Heritage and Townscape Committee meeting on the 15th of January 2025. Did I have a proposer and a seconder for the Heritage and Townscape minutes? Councillor Morehouse and...
I want to speak if I can.
Oh, you want to speak?
Okay. So, HT 012512, items for information only matters for March agenda. I did ask for the question for events and stuff to be put through to H&T so that STC can discuss, or HT can discuss them, and to give like any advice or any help if needed in the future. I did ask for that to be put on there.
All right, thank you very much.
Sorry, Councillor, can you just clarify for me?
So we had a discussion after the meeting to say, to say that for future events within the town, the H&T to be informed so that we could offer advice or support if needed, etc.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. So, were you prepared to second those
I'm
minutes?
prepared to second those
Excellent,
amendments,
thank
yeah.
you. All those in favour of those minutes, please show. Super, that's passed. Thank you very much for all those there. And then that takes us on to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the payment schedules. 5A is to receive and approve the schedule of payment for mid-April 2025, totalling £439,005 and 3pence, and that is attachment 5A there. Did we have any matters arising on attachment 5A at all? Okay, and I'll do a vote at the end on all of them if that's okay. And then the next one we had was the 5B, to receive and approve the schedule of payment for the end of April 2025, totalling £10,512 and 66pence, and this is item 6B, 5B rather. Did we have any issues on this one at all? No? Okay. And then 5C is to receive and approve the schedule of payment that missed the March payment schedule, totalling £39 and 67pence. And that is attachment C. Do we have any matters on that? It's okay. So with those 3 items, 5A, 5B and 5C, could I have a proposer and a seconder? We have Councillor Chuka and Councillor Pennington seconding, and all those in favour please show. Thank you. And that's passed as well. Thank you very much there. That's good. And the next item is for Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise the end of April payment schedules for bank line, and I'm quite happy to put my name forward. Did we have a secondary person to authorise the bank line payments? Councillor Chuka there. Yes. Councillor Carter and Councillor Chuka. And then item 5D was the Council to confirm nomination of 2 signatories to authorise the mid-May 2025 payment schedules on bank line. And once again, I'm quite happy to put my name forward on that. And Councillor Wiles, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You okay?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Do you need to vote?
Yes, we
Oh,
should.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, I can be finished early tonight. So I need a proposer and seconder for those two. So we've got Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Pennington. All those in favour of those signatories, please show. That's good, that's unanimous. Item number 6 is public participation. 20-minute session is set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect of the business on the agenda and other matters as time permits, and individual representations should not exceed 5 minutes. Written notice of the desire to exercise the right to speak together with the topic to be addressed must be given to the town clerk prior to noon on the day of the meeting. Do we have any public speakers?
No requests, Mr Mayor.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, where have all my lovely residents gone to?
Do you understand, probably, Mr. Mayor?
Indeed, they probably are, Councillor Marine. So, and that takes us on to item number 7, which is a verbal report from our Dover District Councillors on matters relating directly to Sandwich only. Councillor Morehouse, would you take the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Right, first of all, number 57 New Street. When Mr. Whittaker came and spoke to us in February, I promised that I would get in touch with DDC and find out what the score is regarding that planning application, which is 2023/00176. And the response that I've got from Alison Cummings is the application is for works to remove historic fabric, the interior of the listed building. These are covered by the listed status of the building, which is why consent is required. There is a need to ensure that all fabric capable of being reused is securely retained rather than simply being discarded. In addition, there is a need to ensure that the application adequately provides details of the structural scaffold. Unfortunately, the submission did not provide sufficient information to enable the application to be determined. DDC conducted a site meeting, provided the agent with guidance and advised him to engage a qualified structural engineer to assist in providing the relevant details. And they go on to say they've received no further information to date, which means there's an impasse. I don't know what the outcome of the meeting that has been arranged with officers and the portfolio holder, Councillor Leaks. Has that been arranged yet? Not.
I don't believe it has. Is it the meeting?
I don't believe so.
I don't think, I didn't attend it at all, no. So that needs to be set up.
So there'll be no further action, there'll be no further developments unless that meeting gets set up.
Exactly. So, but Mr. Whittaker did say that he was waiting on Dover District Council, didn't he?
Well, that's the reason why. Because it's failed the structural elements. That's the application.
But in matter of fact, they're waiting on him.
There's no waiting. Well, it's waiting for him to meet the conditions of the planning application.
Yeah.
But we should also, in tandem, engage with the portfolio holder and officers.
We can do, but they just tell us the same as what you've already told us, that they're waiting on Mr. Whittaker.
Secondly, going on to the bridge that links Knight Rider Street to the junction between St George's Road and Manwood Road, I received a verbal update in a conversation last week when I attended the meeting with Emma Jane Owen and Darren Stolley on the mowing regime, and they have advised that the cost for repair is approximately £30,000, which is less than they anticipated, because they were anticipating a cost of around about 50.
Yeah.
So at the moment that is still parked. I have asked for a further update, but I haven't had one as yet. I've also been in contact with DDC about planning application 22/01341, which is the land next to 95 St George's Road, which was refused, quite rightly, by DDC's planning committee in July of last year. Sorry, April of last year. And in July of last year, there was an appeal submitted to the Planning Inspectorate. The Planning Inspectorate quite rightly upheld DDC Planning Committee's decision to refuse, and I'm now asking about the restoration of the land back to its original state because preemptive work was undertaken. So I'm pushing that through. Going on now to the two doctors' parking spaces that are located at the end of the butchery, at the junction with Harnett Street,
That's on my list.
adjacent to Breezy Corner. I have contacted Dean Aldridge, parking services manager. He attempted to phone me while I was at work, promised to phone me back, he hasn't. I've emailed him back, he's now on holiday. So before the next meeting, I hope to have an update on that. And moving on then, it feeds nicely into disabled access into the co-op car park from the Woonsville Road / Moatsole end. The keep clear road markings at the back of St Thomas's Hospital are frequently taken up with cars, which prevents anyone using a mobility scooter from gaining access into the co-op car park. And that has also come into a similar issue. Again, this is on the junction with Sandwood Road and Jubilee Road, where again mobility scooters are compromised by, let's just say, dreadful parking in that area. And finally, Montague Place. So I have a site meeting with voluntary tree warden on the 10th of May to undertake an audit of the tree planting and maintenance, which will then feed back to Abbey Homes.
Oh, brilliant.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay. Indeed. Have you a question?
Yeah.
So would you like to address?
Yeah, Knight Rider Street Bridge, the footbridge. What's happening there is that people are making their own path down in the town ditch and up the other side, because it's been blocked for 3 months, 4 months now.
Yeah.
It's an important through route for many people in St George's Road to the town centre, myself included. I have written to Darren Solly about the bridge and about the fact that they've recently carried out work to the town ditch, which I and other volunteers have spent some time clearing. They've made a terrible mess, cutting down trees, randomly throwing logs everywhere. So I'm just wondering if it's something that Councillor Morehouse could take up. Because an alternative to the bridge is to make a steps down and steps up the other side.
Indeed.
Because we already have, I mean, it's a scheduled monument, but we already have steps up by the bowling alley.
I'll give you a little bit of an update because I've actually been working on this as well. So I happened to meet Councillor Friend, and so I raised the question with Councillor Friend, and he told me that there was a funding issue at Dover District Council, and I said, well, we're not too interested in the funding issue, we're just interested in getting the bridge open. What's the aspect of this? And he said, well, you're looking at quite a long period of time, perhaps 6 months. So at the weekend, I wrote to the leader of Dover District Council and also the Chief Executive of Finance, and I asked them a number of things. I said, one, can they give me the factual details behind this bridge remaining closed? And two, I invited them to a meeting here at Sandwich or even at Dover District Council to discuss the matter so that we can move it forward as quickly as possible. And the leader got back to me and said, if I can give him some time, he is going to discuss this with the officers and decide how to get ahead with this. But we're not going to accept that bridge being closed for 6 months, and that is definite.
The reason the bridge is closed is because it's been structurally condemned. So to have it open, if we can use it, then there's litigation issues should anyone get injured.
Exactly.
So it's a new bridge. It's a new bridge.
New bridge, yeah. Well, they should have a sinking fund for it.
But being a public footpath, DDC have a legal duty to
They
keep
do.
public footpaths open,
You're
regardless of the cost.
You're right. So, and I've been inundated with complaints and requests about that bridge and what's happened with it. So, and it's as the gentleman that said earlier, the consultant said earlier, you know, this town is built on its passageways and its walkways and its connectivity, and that's what it's always been built on. So, and likewise for myself, when I was coming from the train station to the quay, it inhibited where I wanted to go as well at the weekend. So we need to get this sorted. Councillor Morehouse.
The fact that it's been suggested that the cost of replacing the bridge is considerably less than was estimated, that in itself should lead to that work being carried out much sooner than 6 months, certainly.
Indeed. And as Councillor Wiles said, they knew they had a regulation to maintain that footpath in place. So if they'd made regular inspections, which they should have been doing, at least annually, if not, you know, twice a year, they should have known the condition of it, and they should have been able to estimate when it needed replacement. So I'm very sorry, I haven't got very much sympathy. So, Councillor Chu.
Yeah, just very quickly, it's a great shame that there were 2 pieces of work, substantial work, that were carried out on there within the last year, both which would have, maybe in terms of costs, might have made a significant inroad to 30,000.
Indeed, it would have done. Indeed. Councillor Marie.
Yeah, thank you. Just one question for Councillor Morehouse, if I may. I did see today, thanks to the Assistant Town Clerk, that a new planning application has gone in for 35 residential dwellings on the Archers Low Farm, Sandon Road. It will hopefully be spoken at the next planning meeting. This council has strongly objected it in the past, and hopefully the council will do the same. I wonder if Councillor Morehouse would be happy to work with me and the residents of that area to try and stop the application or refuse it, as I know Councillor Morehouse is on the planning committee.
I'm not on the planning committee. I'm not on the district planning committee. It is part of the local plan, which makes it difficult to prevent. I did attend the presentation that was held about 6 weeks ago, and I raised concerns about the lack of solar. But as far as I'm aware, that planning application will go ahead because it forms part of the local plan. As much as I disagree with them.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 8 is a verbal update from our Kent County Councillor on matters relating directly to Sandwich. You said you gave her apologies. Did she submit a written report?
No, Mr. Mayor, no report.
She didn't. Could we perhaps write to her or send an email for an update that could be perhaps emailed around to all the councillors, please? Because
because she's in Bernard.
Don't forget she's in Perth at the moment, Mr. Mayor, because the elections are Thursday, aren't they?
indeed that relates to political matters, so factual matters such as how many potholes have been filled in does not come under the purdah. So
she's busy knocking on doors though, something.
well, she still needs to meet her obligation.
Just to be fair, because I did speak to her at the annual town meeting, she's actually at another parish council meeting tonight, so you know, we can suspect other things, but no, she's actually at another meeting, and she's being fair to another councillor.
I think you've made it worse actually, Councillor Tuker. So she's put another council above coming to Sandwich Town Council, which is the most superior town or parish council in Kent. So you know, but thank you for that information, Councillor. Item number 9 is the report from the local police representative for Sandwich, and to receive a report from local police representative, if available. Town Clerk, do we have any police officers?
No police officers attend this evening, and I don't have anything to add. Obviously, PC Lauren did do a piece for the Town Council magazine, and she do her regular updates, and she was here for the volunteering.
She was,
yes.
She was,
So,
and the annual town meeting.
She was,
So,
yeah.
indeed, okay. So I will give her a get out of jail free card for being such a regular attendee of the council. Item number 11, financial information, budget
Sorry,
comparison.
Mr. Mayor, skipped to number 10.
Oh, I missed one. Oh, big pardon, of course. Big pardon. Item number 10, updates from councillors. This is to receive and note verbal updates from councillors on meetings that they have attended as nominated representatives of the council. Councillor Mallet,
Oh,
please address the council.
It's not on meetings, it's a plea. Of course, we have the VE Day celebrations on the 8th, starting from 6 o'clock, with set up from about 3 o'clock onwards. I've had volunteers already, but there's opportunities for people to wear the Sandwich Town Council tabard, that's it, and show themselves as supporters of the event. So please feel free to turn up and have a go. And also, the Leave to Land exhibition is downstairs in the courtroom from, I think, tomorrow. So it is still available, so please go and see it.
Oh, that's good.
Come to my talk.
And yes, of course, and Professor Ungerson is giving a talk on Tuesday the 6th from 7 o'clock, I think it is, 7 o'clock, in next door, in the jury room. I'm going to get these right as the jury room. In the jury room, I saw it 4 years ago. 4 years ago, you did a talk. Yes, excellent. Very, very enlightening on what went on in 1938-39 and just about into 40. It is very well presented, and I think far more is going to be discussed this time round.
Well, I found some new stuff.
Right, thank you.
Oh, super, thank you very much. Councillor Morehouse, please.
Regrettably, I can't be there at 3 o'clock on Tuesday the 8th, but I can be around from about 6 o'clock. I won't need one of the tabards because I donated the tabards that I purchased for the town council. I did keep one back for myself, thank you. I'm going to, I won't be attending the Museum and Archive meeting on Wednesday because I have the Kent Association of Local Council area committee on Wednesday. So
that's correct. Thank you very much for giving your apologies for that. That's very kind of you. So, Councillor Franklin.
Yeah, thank you. I attended the Portland Haven Commissioners meeting the other week, and got 2 new commissioners. One's an ex-solicitor, the other one is an ex-Coast Guard officer, and I believe he's harbour master at Ramsgate. So they're both very professional people. Yes, very good. This year we missed out on having the reach taken out opposite the quay because it's now the breeding season, and earlier we had to watch the eels going up the river apparently in January. So hopefully it'll all be done later this year that we have that reed bank done out. I think it's upset the residents of Willowbank because apparently I've had someone go in, apparently it's on their service charge. So so they've all got to contribute a little apparently.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so if you're really back, don't blame me. And that our pontoon there for the P22, they're not happy with that. They reckon it's not safe. They've asked over district council to get its air key. Because some of the boards are not a bit witty-batty. And I think they're with the ownership, who owns it, the P22 bloke, the bloke from the marine, as it was. And there is talk of a barge coming up on that pontoon with an Airbnb on it, which we're not happy with. We don't know. We just want to use it in and out, for visiting boats, really, ships, yachts.
Exactly.
And I will say that the electrical connection from our toilets to the P22, the stanchions, that still needs taken down.
Oh, wow.
Because I think we've had it disconnected in the toilet. I'm not sure if the wire's actually been pulled out of the wall yet, but it does need taking down. So I don't know if it's Dover District or, well, it's their key, it's down Dover District, isn't it?
It is. Oh, thank you very much. Councillor Marie and then Councillor Ripley.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yesterday, I had an email from the over at the Sandwich and Dill and Villages District Commissioner Scouts, wishing these gratitude and thank you to yourself, the Assistant Town Clerk, the Mayor of Dill, and also the Chairman of Dover District Council for attending yesterday. It was a very good event. It was very, very sunny. The children enjoyed it. Even the jokey sketch show that they done during the service as well. So thank you for that. Also, regarding Folk Canal business, So sadly, the dates were wrong on the new Town Council magazine. I did chase that up. Also, the Folk and Our Committee have asked if the Town Council just clarify on their social medias that the dates were wrong and they had to put it on their social medias the correct dates. Also, they've seriously requesting for volunteers. We're asking any councillors that wish to help, whether it's an hour or all weekend, to help with the festival, for putting up gazebos, to litter picking and bits and pieces to keep the town clear and bits and pieces. Also, they had their fundraising quiz night at the Quayside Bar and Grill last Friday. I attended. It was sad to see that other councillors didn't attend. It was a good event. My team, the waiting room, came third overall. Sadly, the Quayside Bar and Grill staff, they came first. They were awarded £200 for the prize money, and they gave the money back for the donation to Folk and Our. Folk and Our raised over £800 for that evening to support the festival. Thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that report. And I have to publicly thank you, Councillor Marie, yesterday for organising the road closures and arranging the volunteers, including Councillor Mallet, who attended the District Scouts Festival. And if it wasn't for yourself and the volunteers, then obviously the parade couldn't have gone ahead at all. So I just want to publicly thank you for that.
Yes, if I may say so as well, apologies if I forgot Councillor Mallet, I don't know why, but I didn't see right next to me. Yeah, thank you to Councillor Mallet and the volunteer team for helping with the road closures. Without the volunteers in this town, the town would grind to a halt, so I'd very much thank them for their help for yesterday.
Thank you very much. Councillor Ripley, would you like to address the council?
I was involved in the Sandwich and Bloom sale of sunflower seeds by the co-op a couple of weekends ago, and many thanks to Paul at the co-op for donating a lot of stuff and letting us do it there. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, I think it's, at the last I heard, they'd raised over £300, but there was still stuff being sold, so that, you know, that's a very good thing and very engaging for kids and everyone else. I also had a meeting with our voluntary tree warden, Nikki, a long meeting going through the report she'd written, and she's very keen, as am I, to have this as ongoing part of Heritage and Townscape agenda, because it's really important to the town. I mean, it was mentioned earlier by Mr. Rumney about the importance of the trees, etc. in the town, and there's a lot to be worked through. So that might be something for the next Heritage and Townscape meeting to make sure.
I would support that very strongly.
An ongoing
that's very
agenda
important.
item. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed, that's most important, particularly with all these new developments and even infill sites. That is desperately needed.
Yeah, there's a lot to sort out still. I mean, she's got all the planting sorted for this year, but you know, there's still a lot to be done in the town in various ways. So yeah, we need to support her as much as we can. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. So, and I was just going to say, just personally myself, I've been working with the property manager on a number of matters, one of which is the cinema, which is having its health and safety and fire regulatory requirements brought into line, brought up to date there as well. I also, the property manager and I also met with the developer from Fellowship Walk, because he is still in a state of agitation, and since we last turned him down, he would like to know the council's requirements and what he could go ahead with, and so we put him straight on where he is with that. So I've been dealing with that. I've also been down to the quayside I got invited down to see, I won't say it's a ship because it's not fully a ship yet, but the Nicholas on the quayside, and the carpenters are doing absolutely fantastically on that, and they hope to have, perhaps late summer, hope to have it open to the public. It is, the public can go on it currently, but it's in a sort of state of rebuild, but when it's finished it's going to be a secondary tourist attraction on the quayside there, and already the medieval centre, when I went into the medieval centre just to visit in there, the medieval centre said that they've had more visitors today than they had for the whole of last year. So the medieval centre seems to be a really successful attraction. When they've got the Nicholas totally rebuilt, we're going to have a fantastic place down on the quay there for attracting visitors and tourists. So I think we do have to bear that in mind for any determination on the quayside, redevelopment, parking and other issues down there, because they have been literally so successful. They're doing a fantastic job down there. Also, I've been, before ours occurs, I've been attending some mayor-making ceremonies at some other towns, so they have theirs a bit earlier. And I was very lucky to go to Winchelsea, which is an absolutely lovely town, you know, in comparison to this fantastic town, of course. And I was greeted down there, and they only invited a couple of mayors to Winchelsea. So I was very lucky to get in on the ticket of being Speaker of the Cinque Ports this year. Otherwise, perhaps I wouldn't have got along. But I've got another probably 2 or 3 mayor-making ceremonies to go, and it's very important to fly the flag for Sandwich, so that there's some tradition and history there as well. And then, as I say, the last thing I was going to say about was I've been trying to support the businesses in the town, so I'm supporting the takeover of the Market Inn by a new landlord there, and I'm supporting him make sure that he gets that all set up and refurbished. And I'm also making inquiries on the Fleur de Lis public house with its present owners to make sure that that property does go into good hands and as soon as possible, so that it isn't empty for the rest of the year. So I'm working on those items as well there. So, Councillor Marie.
One more thing, Miss Mayor, if I don't say it, I'll be shocked. So I'll have to say it, so I do apologise, I'll be quickly. So as a trustee of Gays and Salts Nature Reserve, they have an open day on Saturday. They have from 10 AM till 1 PM this Saturday, free admission, all welcome. Obviously no dogs allowed on the Nature Reserve except assistant dogs. It's a spring wildlife day, so there's lots of family activities and bits and pieces. There's also guided walks around the reserve with some expert wildlife keepers around for the reserve have. So hopefully you can attend as well, Mr. Mayor.
I will be, in fact.
I'm sure a couple of councillors all are welcome to attend as well. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you for that reminder. That was most important, and I'll definitely see you there. Thank you. Item number 11 is financial information, budget comparison, financial statement, cash book, reconciliation and forecast, 2024-25 reports. Item A is to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council bank reconciliation as of 31st of March 2025, and this is item 6A. Did we have any matters arising on 6A at all? By the way, we'll vote on them en bloc afterwards, if that's okay. No matters at all, so thank you very much. Item B is to receive and note the Sandwich Town Council financial budget comparison report as of 31st of March 2025, and that is item 6B. Do we have any matters arising on item 6B? No. Okay. And item C is to receive and note the financial statement cash book as of the 31st of March 2025, and that is item 6C. Did we have any items to be raised on 6C? Councillor Franklin?
No, you said
Oh, super. Okay then. Oh, you're ahead of me, are you? So, could I have a proposer and seconder? So, Councillor Franklin and Councillor Marie. All those in favour of those 3 items, please show. Thank you, and that's unanimous. Thank you very much. That's been passed. Item there. Item number 12 is the business plan for Sandwich Town Council, and the second draft of the business plan is for comment and potential adoption by the council. councillors deferred the item at full council meeting in March to enable further comments and feedback. The comments are now collated for consideration, and I would like to thank Councillor Wiles, and did you have some compatriots working on this? Councillor Breen?
I did.
Oh.
Councillor Chuka.
Councillor Chuka.
And the town clerk.
And the town clerk. So I'd like to thank all of those that have been working so hard on this, and this was something that perhaps we should have introduced 2 years ago, but at least it's getting into place now. I do have, unfortunately, one item that I wish to raise myself, and that is item number 4, bullet point 7, and obviously you're expecting this, so, but this statement will have to be changed because it is incorrect. So we have here, as one of the 5 ancient sink ports, there's significant demand on the council to be involved in ceremonial events in terms of time and cost is a potential source of concern amongst some councillors. The 2 things I wish to raise about this, one, I do not consider it a significant demand. This year was perhaps slightly larger than normal because we had the speakership of the sink ports. And the second item is today I've not had anybody complain to me about the issue of the civic ceremonies. So I'm not quite sure where we go from here, but this I would like this sort of struck off the record because it's factually it's incorrect. I mean, I've been doing it and it's not a significant demand on me. I've been doing it whilst working full time and nobody's complained to me. And also the other matter that ties in with this one, which is very, very important, is on Appendix 4, page 16, item 8, it states that we are to promote Sandwich and its heritage. Well, the civic ceremonies are part of the heritage of this town. So we've also got a contradiction there as well. So would somebody like to discuss this matter? I think Councillor Marie.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you are quite right. To be fair, we are a sink port. We are one of the 5 sink ports. We have a strong heritage. We have a strong traditions in this town. Yes, they have been quite busy for you, but you've taken it on your stride quite well this year as Speaker of the sink ports. I find that quite derogatory that those comments in there. I do feel that this council thrives upon traditions and its civic events and the civic duties it does for the sink ports. So I wish that to be struck off as well. So if you'd like to put that as a proposal, I'm more than happy to second that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Pennington.
Well, I would like to defend this point because, as you probably all realise, I've been deeply frustrated as a councillor on a number of issues where I've wanted things to move forward. And there was a period when I felt I was constantly being told that what I would like to happen could not happen, not because the mayor was busy, but because the staff were busy with civic events. And I did feel that, of course, there has to be a balance struck between civic events and actually delivering services to the people of this town. And I did feel that that balance was not there, and that not enough attention was being given in terms of time and in terms of resource to delivering services. And the reason that was constantly given was because the staff were extremely busy organising civic events. So I would defend, I mean, nobody came and asked me about what should go in this business plan, so I'm certainly not one of the councillors that objected and made that point. There must have been others, because presumably that point wouldn't have been put in the business plan if there hadn't been other councillors who'd expressed similar views. But I am now defending that point of view on the grounds that resources have been used, I think, disproportionately for civic events.
Could I just reply to you, if I may? I would say that you were misinformed by the Guildhall staff. We only had one event.
Frequently said in public at council
We,
meetings.
well then, a lot of people were misinformed. We only had one more event than we normally have in a year, which was Speaker's Day.
And the installation of the Lord Warden seemed to take up an enormous amount.
The installation of the Lord Warden, just to make everybody factually correct, was actually organised by the Secretary and staff of the Confederation of the Cinque Ports. So the installation of the Lord Warden is a totally separate thing. It was not funded, it was not organised, there was very little interaction. The only interaction was on arranging the handful of councillors that attended to go there. But in this last year, we only had one event more, and in fact we had less civic events than we had of layperson events in the town. So just recently, we've had a number of events in the town, like Volunteers Day and the networking event. We've had a larger number of actual normal events, non-civic events, than we have civic events. So we usually have three civic events a year, and this year we had 4. So I believe Councillor Pennington's next, actually, and then I'll...
Thank you, Chair. Yes, just on that point, it seems to me a question of partly of the limited resources that we had in terms of staffing. That's to some extent been eased in the course of the year, but I think it did create exactly the sort of problems that Councillor Anderson has highlighted. I did have a separate point, which was that I commented on the business plan on 2 occasions, one in writing when it was first circulated, and secondly when it was discussed as a draft earlier, but I don't feel that significant changes have been made. So I would have liked to have seen it used more as a, to use the phrase I used last time, the Guildhall bubble document, and more of an outlooking document towards the citizens of the town to explain that our priorities were theirs as well.
Thank you very much for that, Councillor Benson. Councillor Morehouse?
Yeah, I don't think that this is designed to be derisory. I think it's just to make people...
No, I didn't use that term at all. I didn't use that term at all.
I mean, I'm a lifelong resident of this town, so sure as hell I appreciate what the civic importance of this town is. So, but I'm certainly, we do need to be aware of the fact that it does put extra pressure on staff. That's not to say that it's something that we should do away with.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite. But to be aware of it and to manage it appropriately, I think in any organisation that would be appropriate.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the putting extra pressure. We might have to have an investigation into this one, because I've not been notified by the civic staff or the Guildhall staff or councillors. I didn't know about Councillor Anderson's views on this matter at all. Nobody's literally come forward to me at all. So, and I would like to say we are one very important member of staff down, and that is of course the town sergeant, which is now being addressed. So the town sergeant would actually undertake this, and I can tell you from a mayoral point of view, the only person that has been working with me for the majority, I won't say the entire process, is Lindsay, the assistant VIC member of staff, and she has been managing the mayor's diary. So, but I can't see where all the significant pressures are coming from, so it hasn't been reported. Anyway, moving forward to Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, so this was circulated to all councillors as a draft. It came to the Finance and General Purposes Committee, it came to the last council. I again asked for comments, written comments. I had written comments from Councillor Black alone,
Oh,
I-
sorry.
Councillor Pennington did write on a previous occasion, but I chose to ignore his comments because I didn't think they were relevant to this business plan, sorry to say. Because I think you were talking about youth facilities and such like, which I didn't
Yeah.
feel was our responsibility or legal duty, so sorry about that. But I think that's a factual statement. There are councillors in this room who do feel that the ceremonial stuff is important, but it's not our primary purpose. We have other things to do in the town which we're not doing, and too inward looking. We need to be more outward looking. The ceremonial stuff, I think there are councillors here who think there's too much of it and we should tone it down a bit.
But should it
That's
be?
an opinion.
I know indeed, thank you for that, councillor. And I accept it as an opinion. But should it be in this document then, which is a business plan? Because it's
Sorry,
civic,
but
isn't
no
it?
one, apart from Councillor Black, sent me any comments. So this is the third iteration of the document. If you wanted changes, you should have made those points much earlier in the process.
Can I refer to what I said a few moments ago? Any organisation should be aware of any potential additional pressures that can be placed on its staff. That is a responsibility of any organisation.
That's, yeah.
And
So,
that is what this,
so I need,
as far as I'm concerned, that's what this paragraph is saying.
so I
It's
need
not
the
saying do away with the
facts.
civic stuff.
I need-
I wouldn't support that in a million
Indeed,
years.
I understand what you're saying, Councillor Morehouse, but to quote a really famous advisor of mine, Councillor Chuka, where's the data? We need the data. So I've not had one communication from one councillor in this room in 2 years about this matter. So I've not got any emails that I can produce for you. Plus also, the Guildhall staff, which I'm not going to do it now, but the Guildhall staff have not complained about. In fact, the dead opposite. Yesterday when we had 200 scouts on that forecourt that came here, and we had a civic parade to the church, I had members of staff volunteering to be the mace bearer. Now, if that was a pressure, I wouldn't have had a mace bearer because they wouldn't have volunteered.
But they're being paid.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a cost.
So yeah, well,
It's a cost.
yeah, it's a cost, and the budget's set for those
Sorry,
costs.
Mr. Mayor, this is a factual statement. It's saying there is
It's not.
concern among some councillors. Whether that concern is justified by the facts or not is irrelevant. There is concern.
Yeah,
Councillor
thank you.
Franklin.
Actually, I think this is a complete waste of time and a complete waste of our staff's time. I look at what's happened over the last 2 years, and in my mind, zilch. And I know you're trying to do something the next 2 years. We've got the Fisher Gate, we've still got the memorial stone here. All you're doing is bogging the staff down. You've been rewriting the draft of everything, which has took loads and loads of time. And no wonder they haven't got time to do anything. It's nothing to do with the civic. It's all this rewriting of everything, isn't it? The amount of time the meetings you've had working groups. God knows how many working groups you've had in the last 2 years. And I just think I'm voting against it anyway because I think it's a complete waste of time. We just should get on with what we can do and not, get what we haven't done. There's so much we haven't done, so we must do.
Can I respond to
Well,
that?
I must. Councillor Marie's been waiting very patiently, and then I'll come back. And Councillor Duke hasn't spoken. So
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I just point out the last 2 years have been quite busy for the mayor, so for Councillor Franklin and yourself when you were both mayors. You've had the passing of Her Majesty the Queen, so you had to attend the funeral. You had the coronation of the King Charles III, and you attended. Also, the Lord Warden passed away, the old Lord Warden passed away, we attended the service. I attended that service at Westminster, I think, with both of yourselves there as well. And it's not to do with costing, because I paid for myself to get to those places, and sure Councillor Franklin did, and I'm sure you did as well. So it's not to do anything to do about costing. In my opinion, and I'm sure Councillor Franklin agrees with me, the heritage stuff of this council, especially the civic stuff, must remain. We will celebrate 800 years of the first mayor recorded next year. Myself and Councillor Franklin are already talking about what to do for next year to celebrate that. We need to make sure that the civic stuff and the heritage stuff in this council stays how it is. And I propose that comment, the first part of that bullet point, is removed from the business plan.
Councillor Tuke, I'll come back to you, Councillor Bond.
So I was just going to say, business plan
You're going to
is...
find the data for me, are you?
No. Business plan is normally written as looking forward rather than looking back. In terms of this section within the business plan, it's context written by Councillor Wiles, but to some extent this particular bullet is now in the past because actually we've got through that particular effort.
Indeed.
It could be easily redrafted because actually I think the essence of it is true in the sense that by being one of the 5 sink ports, there is a significant demand on us as a council, and that is every day as we move forward, including the year of being the speaker. So I think it would be slightly modified. I want to focus on a business plan for the next 2 years, not about trying to, at the 4th attempt, nuance some of the words in here. These are important words for some, well, for both sides in terms of views, but I think we can tone it down and let's move on. I think in terms of the actual drafting, Councillor Wiles has done the 99% of this product.
He has.
And I think we have to recognise that. And I think we move on, and we have to have a focus for 2 years in terms of things we're going to try and tackle. And much of what's in here is practical stuff that we still know we need to deal with.
Indeed, thank you.
It's not setting up new projects, it's not going in different directions, it's actually dealing with things that we've already been tackling.
Indeed. Did you want to come back, Councillor Wiles?
So, my recollection of how this business plan came about, town clerk might correct me if I'm wrong, is that there were so many demands on the staff, so many pressures on the staff, individual councillors coming and asking for things to be done, that there was a feeling that we needed a plan that would focus on clear priorities.
Exactly.
And that's what's in this document. So it makes it much easier for the town clerk and the staff to say, sorry, next 2 years we can't deal with that because it's not in the business plan. So that's the background to it. It's not trying to create more work or that, it's trying to focus work into a specific channel. I mean, that statement is factually correct. I have concerns about it, Councillor Anderson has concerns. So among some councillors, it's a factually correct statement. There is concern among some councillors.
Which hasn't been voiced.
Well, whether it's backed up by facts or not, there is concern among some councillors. It's a factually correct statement. I'm not going to withdraw it, sorry.
Also, the adjective of significant then. So why did you put significant and perhaps not something of a lesser bearing? Significant is bigger than great or extensive.
Come on, let's just move on. I'm willing to remove the word significant if it helps. But it's going to be a working document. It's just saying these are the challenges.
Mr. Mayor, may I? Can I just say, can I just say, I will not vote for this business plan until that is removed, because it just feels like to me that that's a point of that's it. There'll be nothing happening. And the other thing is that myself, Councillor Frank and Councillor Breen are pushing for the town sergeant. It would have taken a lot of pressure off the staff. Yes, I know it's the staff. However, I want to see proof, written proof from members of staff or other councillors to say that there was a pressure on the staff having these civic duties undertaken by the mayor, and then that may change my mind. It may not, but until then, I can't vote for something until I see written proof from staff, members of staff, to say that they're in the wrong.
Did you want to?
It's just an observation. I think there's a balance between, are we talking about the history that goes forward, the various things we do? Are we talking about, because I think that the moment the historical side comes in, we've got to start sort of saying, who are we to change? While we're listening to the curfew bell, throughout this discussion, the curfew bell, that is part of our history. And I think that as long as this paragraph doesn't interfere with that going forward, maybe the word significant isn't appropriate. I think it's a brilliant plan. I think it's great.
So do I.
We've actually got it. And if we can go ahead with changing a single word.
Exactly.
Let's change the word, move on, and then we can talk about something else.
So can I propose the word significant is removed and that we vote on it?
Seconded.
Sure.
I just wanted to make a point actually. Just the kind of feelings in this discussion, I just think it's really worth noting that the town council is really complex and it's always going to be a challenging balance between the civic aspects and the history of the town and the actual council duties and responsibilities to residents. And I think, I don't know of other towns that would have the equivalent level of expectations and
exactly,
just to acknowledge that really.
Very good observation. Thank you, Councillor Tomlins. Okay, so just rolling you back, so I was the first one to make a comment and it was meant to be a very light-hearted comment, but it's obviously touched a few nerves in the room, so sorry about that, I apologise. Did anybody else have any other comments on the business plan? So, because this is our opportunity to discuss it. So.
Just to make note that Councillor Wiles has done a fantastic job on the business plan.
I'd already said that at the beginning.
So
I said at the
I'd
beginning
like
that
that to be noted.
the hard work is incredible, and that, you know, we're very lucky that Councillor Wiles has taken his time to do this. And indeed, yeah, we could use the word significant indeed. Thank you, Councillor Wiles. Yeah. So in this case, I would like to use the term significant effort. So, which is fantastic. So, but if nobody else has any other comments, could we have a proposer and a seconder for the business plan?
I'd like to propose it with the amendment of removal of the word significant from the document.
Okay then.
There's additional going
And then did we have a seconder?
Yes, I'll second.
And Councillor Anderson second. So all those, if you can show in
3 against.
4.
Oh, sorry, 4. Sorry.
Thank you. So
Is
that
there
has
no abstentions?
no, I don't believe there were. No. So that has been passed. Thank you very much.
Thanks to vote.
And then we've got item number 13, consultations, local cycling and walking infrastructure plan, consultation for Dover District Council. The local cycling and walking infrastructure plan is now open for consultation. Consultation is open from the 15th of April to the 27th of May. Comments to be received no later than 5 p.m. and that is attachment 8A. Dover District Council is proposing to introduce a public spaces protection order in accordance with the Antisocial Behaviour, Crime and Policing Act 2014, which if approved could continue to cover the following behaviours. I won't read them out and bore you on that, and that is attachment 8B. So, oh, Councillor Schuker, did you have a...
Well, I assumed we were going to be consulted on the consultations. Yes.
Yeah, I was just, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I know others will have views as well.
That's right, yeah, I haven't read the last bit.
All right, okay.
It's a bit over the page, sorry.
So,
Members invited to consider the consultation opportunities and provide comments for collation and submission to Dover District Council, and a decision is required on that. So, Councillor Tuke was first, then Marie, and then Councillor Wiles.
So I was just going to talk first on the LCWIP. So it's a little bit, I suppose, surprising that we've had this land on us, in the sense that it was written some 5 to 6 years ago. Well, it was written 5 years ago. The audio almost certainly was taken, it would have been done beforehand, so you could assume that that's 6 years ago. And all we've been asked to do today is, in terms of consultation, it's about, it's not about delivering any improvements, it's just to produce a plan. So I have sort of lots of reservations about affordability, feasibility, etc. But in the spirit of what we've been asked to do, a number of proposals in the consultation are really good. And they're also aligned to the Rummy report, which we discussed earlier. We're also aligned to the highway improvement plan, which we're developing. We're also aligned to the local plan for Dover. So there's a whole host of things, and the question is, I suppose, out of that is, will this go anywhere? But the one element of the schemes that I'd support all of the schemes in here. The only one I've got a real issue with is the one that's called the Sandwich Arc, and that's proposing cycling along the town trail, and I just can't see how that would ever get off the ground for all sorts of reasons, from a practicalities, from a cost perspective, from a safety perspective, and I think we should be trying to dampen down that as a proposal within the context. Everything else I'm personally happy with, but that one I just could see it never happening. But that's my view.
Indeed, thank you. I think I had Councillor Marie and then Councillor Wells.
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Chuka is dead right regarding the cycling. The town team have been trying to do for the last, well, as long as I've been part of the town team, 6-7 years, more so, to stop the cycling around the town's walkways. It's the butts, the rope walk, the Millwall. It is dangerous, and some of those really narrow, and I'm dead against them. Also, I'm trying to get the cycle path changed away by the quayside playground areas, which is the other side, but that's another story. Can I just confirm that are we doing a collective as a council, putting a recommendation of thing, and what we can do our own one as well? Because if that's the case, because we've got enough time, can we call another meeting to discuss this one item in general, so we can all get our heads together and all get together and put it in one basket?
I think the town clerk had an idea about this, didn't you?
Well, all I was going to say is that was, you can do that, you can do the collective response, or you can individually as well, obviously, because the consultation is open to the public. So, but I thought that the council might want to do a collective response.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah,
we should.
Yeah.
I agree. I do. If that's the case, I do feel that we should bring another meeting in, so we all get together and discuss it in detail, because that's quite a big.
It's
quite a big consultation. Yes, and I do feel that we need to put our together and look at it in detail. Say no, we don't want that. Yes, that's a good idea. So I hope maybe council might agree, but that's how I feel.
I'll ask the town clerk if there's an opportunity to arrange, perhaps alongside one of the other meetings, so we don't have to keep coming in and out. If it was alongside perhaps another meeting and we all turned up slightly earlier or what have you, then perhaps we could discuss it. But obviously there would be a necessity for everybody to read the report before you turned up to the meeting, if that's okay. I'm sorry, I did promise Councillor Wiles to speak next, and then I'll come across to yourself, if that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is a strange document because it's 5 years old. It's based on 2011 census data, so the town has different demographics and things have changed since that time. I mean, I'm one of the few councillors who cycle, I think. So I know there's probably 3 or 4 of me.
You and me.
So I feel the town is very, very poor for cyclists and for pedestrians. It's dominated by cars. So many of the proposals in here I think are wonderful. The shared space on the town wall I don't think would work, as you see the one in Deal, pedestrians, I hate to say it, wander across the line. They do down at the quay, and cyclists are then abused for coming past. So I don't think that would work, but there needs to be better cycling provision within the town. Because if I want to go from the Bell Hotel to St Mary's Church, I have to either walk or have to go around the main road. So it's a very poor town for cycling. But some of I suppose the 2 big things in here, the headline things are the town hall and closing the toll bridge to vehicles. I'm not sure that people in the town are even aware of this proposal. And many of the proposals are quite radical, like full pedestrianisation. The cost overall, if all of these things are implemented, you're talking tens of millions. It's never going to happen. So, we can give our views, but is there a point?
Councillor Franklin, then Councillor Pennington.
Yeah, I remember when this was coming so strange, you remember?
Yeah.
Or what, before your time?
No, I don't think so.
And it's those funny fish signs, like on the quay, this one by Richborough Road, they said how far to Inverness, that's the Dover Inverness Road, isn't it? Something take up by Richborough 4. So it's quite a good thing, Sustrad, I really like it. And I think it's nice to have, if we can just have a nice little talk about linking up within the town. We talked about this before, because I suppose a lot of councils don't realise, but if you come off the Ash Road, go along the butts, there was a gate there on the left, but from that gate there is a tarmac path under all that rubbish that goes right along to that unmade road, you know. So if we could link them up, you know, get the tarmac, clear that up, and perhaps we could link it into, say, the car park, and when it also gets people into the infant school, doesn't it?
Yeah,
From the Ash Road.
it does.
And then there's the, I don't like the idea of cycling along the ramparts of the mill, but if you were to come off Sandown Road and have a little slope down there and down the town ditch, which would be lovely to have a path along there though, wouldn't it? It's a cycle path, because it'd be away from the foot and it'd be safer than being up on the top. Because we'd never allow railings along there. So we could have a new cycle path along the bottom there, which also could be handy for disabled people. But that's one of the drawbacks, is the other end is the steps. Because the times we discuss the steps on New Street, because apparently every time you go down a foot, you've got to have 12 foot in length. We discussed that ages. So if we could come along there, across the footpath that goes to St George's Road, opposite Malcolm Waite's garage, which we've talked about, they could have a little bridge across the Dell for Malcolm Waite's, and that could link across there. So it'd be a little bit, it's just linking bits up, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only bit is it's being kept by the road wall. But it's English heritage, isn't it? So it's very difficult.
That's right. That's true. Councillor Pennington.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I won't make detailed comments if we're going to have another meeting. I do know from experience, every time I've come across this issue of cyclists and pedestrians sharing the same surface, there's problems. There is no way except complete separation to keep everyone safe.
No, thank you very much for that comment.
So, sorry, just picking up on some of the points, the consultation itself is very narrow, so I just, you know, let's be careful we don't spend hours. If you look at the questions, it's actually saying, are you happy with what's in here or what's not? I mean, there is some capacity to put some other views, but it's being very heavily managed, should we say.
Well, indeed, you're right, Councillor, because in fact it's got only 3 recommendations for things, so you can say you do support it, you object to it, or maybe. So there's only three bullet points that you can choose. Yes, you want it, no you don't, or possibly you're unsure. So.
Well,
Councillor Anderson, sorry.
I would like to say that, I mean, it is rather surprising that this has suddenly re-emerged from under huge numbers of other reports and being brought forward. And that does indicate that something has shifted in terms of the general culture about walking and cycling. And I think we may be slightly mistaken at being very, very pessimistic about getting some of these things implemented. I mean, for example, it mentions zebra crossings. I don't know whether, I doubt that they're very expensive, but they obviously have a cost, and they have a cost as far as Kent highways are concerned, because they impede traffic flow, which seems to be the only thing that Kent highways cares about. But here we've got Dover District Council actually bringing this forward for our attention. And I think that's an opportunity that we should take. And I agree the process is being managed, but it's clearly being managed, I feel, in the right direction.
So, and as Councillor Marie's quite rightly said, we'll call a meeting on this and we can raise our views in more detail, more depth. But as I say, if everybody could...
I'll just say that very important one we did do when I was there in '98, a long time ago. But we did put a cycle path in Worth to the school on the Deal Road, Covington Lane, and that was a shared thing with Worth Parish Council.
It was.
And so perhaps we could link stuff in. If we go out like the other parish councils, Woodford for Street, we might go, especially with the schools, we might be able to get a holistic approach. So also where there's some bridleways, if there is money, government money as well, we can link the villages in as well, get away from the main road. Eastleigh Road is terrible, isn't it? If we can get them down the old bridleway and get a nice cycle path, it'd be fantastic.
And just last comment.
Yeah, so I agree with Councillor Frenchman saying, well, I do feel we just need to concentrate on the town. The town's getting busier as we can all see. And also, you'll clearly see on Saturday, Sunday, this bank holiday weekend, it's the 40s weekend. There's going to be a lot of people down the quayside.
Yeah.
So the classic place would be to watch is the cycle path down there, where the cycles are just going to be absolutely everywhere. Because there's children going to be everywhere, in and out that park. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful weekend. So that's something we have to watch. But I do feel that we should concentrate more on the town area, within the town walls, and including the town walls as well, before we link in with any other parish councils.
Thank you for that. So a decision has been made, so there's been a proposal to hold a extra meeting, which the town clerk will schedule and notify you about. So all those in favour of attending an extra meeting, please show. Thank you, that's been passed. Thank you very much. And item number 14 is a licence application for Sandwich.
Sorry, Mr. Moore, is that for both?
PPS,
You want both?
No, no.
No, PSPO is shorter time frame, that's next week, that
Yeah,
ends
that's
next
what
week.
I thought. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just clarifying.
That's
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Item number 14, licensing application for Sandwich. The following premises licensing application has been received by Dover District Council, the Jubilee Centre, Jubilee Road, Sandwich. Grant of premises licence to enable sale of alcohol between Monday to Saturday, 12 noon to 2300 hours, Sunday, 12 noon to 2100 hours. Exhibition of films, Monday to Saturday, 9 to 1100 hours, Sunday, 10 to 2100 hours. Item number 3, boxing or wrestling entertainments, Monday to Saturday, 9 AM to 2100 hours, and Sunday, 11 to 2100 hours. The consultation period on this ends on the 9th of May 2025. Any individual, body or business is entitled to make representations in relation to applications, variations or reviews for premises licences or club premises certificates. This is the link to the DDC website where further information can be held, and members are invited to consider the consultation opportunity, and if there are no concerns, then no representation will be required.
Sorry, just very quickly, can I apologise? I think, did we not jump off of the consultations? We haven't talked about the second one, which has a significant issue for me at least.
Oh, beg your pardon. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon. Sorry.
That's why I want some clarification.
I think it's because it goes over page. Oh, beg your pardon. Sorry. Going back slightly then, item number 13, this secondary consultation, which is attachment 8B, for the Public Services Protection Order. So did we have any comments on that?
Yes.
On that one,
So
Councillor
the one issue I have is the street drinking, in that what's now been proposed is, whilst it was a district-wide application, it's now only going to apply to Dover, Deal and Walmer. Now, I don't know quite why only those places, but equally, more importantly for Sandwich, I don't know why we wouldn't have some restrictions around street drinking. This isn't to stop anybody drinking or anybody carrying drink, it's given the opportunity to intervene if there's antisocial behaviour. And there are a number of places in the town where we shouldn't accept that it's a free-for-all. So I think we should be strongly going back and challenging on that point why Walmer, Deal and Dover are so special.
Indeed, that's correct.
Or such a problem.
Indeed, that's true. So, Councillor Marie.
Yeah, Councillor Tuke took the words right out of my mouth. There used to be a PSPO on the square, has been for many, many years. There's the old sign just outside by the courtroom door. It's a green, very small green sign saying you'd be fined £100 if you're seen drinking on the street. However, yes, it's a good idea. We should make sure that we strongly put that in, because why are we not included? We are a town. We have a lot of many establishments in the town, and we have events in the town, but we have temporary event notices to be able to sell and drink alcohol on the square. I do feel, especially with the new pub's going to be opening up soon, so I do feel, and hopefully I will support Councillor Tuker's comments on that one.
Thank you very much for that. Was there any other comments on the Public Safety Protection Order? No? Okay then. So a proposal's been put forward that we go back to Dover District Council to query and question the reason why Sandwich has been left out of the drinking order on the streets. Do we have a proposer and seconder for that, please? Councillor Pennington as well, Banner. All those in favour of querying this omission, thank you so much, and that's Unanimous, thank you. That's right. Did you have any other items on that?
No, I just, sorry, yeah, it was only that, but I just,
Yeah, sorry,
I think the forecourt is essential,
Yes,
but
it
it's
is.
whether any other areas in the town, because actually what it means is beyond the forecourt, if anywhere else anybody can,
That's
just hang out and
exactly
hang out.
do what they want to do. Indeed. So item number 14, hopefully you'll remember I read out the details of that, so I won't bore you with that again. So the trustees are going to talk on it, but they won't be voting on it. And I had Councillor Anderson first and then Councillor Marie. Would you like to
Yes,
address
thank
the
you.
council?
Yes, I am a trustee of the Jubilee Centre, so obviously I've been involved in discussions amongst the trustees as to whether we should go for a premises licence, and the general consensus was that we should, because we want to have private functions, parties, weddings, those kinds of events, and we would need to have alcohol available. And it's interesting that the police have recently sent a comment to the manager of the Jubilee Centre, the part-time manager, Danielle Roth, PC, has said that she'd like to see CCTV installed, but she understands that we haven't got the money to do that. But she also says, as discussed, and they've had a phone conversation, two conditions with regards to the use of the bar. One, the bar will not be used when any boxing event is being held at the premises. The boxing club does have the odd event at the Jubilee Centre where other boxing clubs come. And she's saying the police would not like it if the bar is available, and we wouldn't like it either. And the second condition is the bar will only be in use for pre-booked private functions, and that is with our full agreement as well. And she goes on. She says, if you're happy with the above, please could you send an email to DVC licensing with the two conditions and request these are added to the application. Once received, there will be no objections from Kent Police, and there'll be no objections from the trustees to those conditions.
Excellent, thank you very much. Oh, Councillor Morehouse and Councillor Marie.
Yeah, it held a licence at least until the early 1990s, so I fully support this.
It did, didn't it? And Councillor Marie?
Yeah, can I just ask a question? How come this wasn't put on the planning agenda? It's not, we have a licensing part of the planning agenda. Just want to clarify that. I'm all for it. I think it's a fantastic idea. I do feel that it will bring in revenue for the Jubilee Centre and make it even more useful for the town. And I do agree on the boxing side of things as well with the amendments that Councillor Anderson said. I'm more than happy to support this application. But I just want to clarify regarding planning.
I'll just ask the town clerk.
Yeah, it's because there isn't sufficient time before the next one. It's the 9th of May is the period for this comment.
Councillor Frank?
Yeah, I mean, I run the youth club for 18 odd years. Also, I remember in the 60s I was helping buy a brick. There used to be a youth club in St Clement's Hall. I'm totally against this application. I mean, I run the youth club, you can have alcohol. You get justice's licence, don't you? We've had weddings, parties, we've always had alcohol there. I've had private parties myself with a justice's licence. You don't need it. They don't need their own liquor licence. See a night only game, I don't think it's been very well advertised around the estate. I don't know if we've heard any comments from the local resident, but I'm totally against it. It should just be, you know, you've got the boxing club, but to me, it was still the youth club. I know it's changed now, it got closed, but I'm still against selling alcohol. They can have a justice's licence like we used to do, which is a common thing when you have parties in private halls.
Councillor Wiles and then Councillor Pennington.
I look forward to going to the wrestling if it's like it used to be on Saturday afternoon. No, I'm just wondering about exhibition of films. To what extent that might, you know, how many films will it be in competition with the Empire, for example?
It's just that when you apply for a premises licence, it includes the exhibition of films.
So it won't be a regular thing.
There's no intention to.
Councillor Pennington.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was a bit surprised by the inclusion of boxing, and particularly the hour to start selling alcohol. But if the centre wishes to pursue the avenue of housing private functions, and it's true they have a wonderful car park, then I would support the proposal.
Thank you very much. So thank you for those. So I would like to, because I know the trustees of the Jubilee Centre very well, I would like to actually propose from the chair that Sandwich Town Council would support this application, because I think that it would add extra facilities and functionality to something that we should all be supporting, particularly in Sandwich South, where there is such very little facilities or functionability at all. So if this would improve the function of the Jubilee Centre, I would be very happy to propose it under strict management. So, and seconded by Councillor Marie. All those in favour, please show. Okay, so, and then we've just got one against. Thank you very much. So that's been passed. So before I close, we've got one more thing. Cowleys Meadow, proposed parking, item number 15, and events fees. Members to consider an updated report from the property manager that relates to a proposed fee structure for events and parking on Cowleys Meadow. This is attachment number 9, and a decision is required on this. So, did you have that? Is there only one I didn't have, the attachment 9?
Yes.
Sorry, I did read it. So, thank you very much. Thank you. So did we have any comments on this at all? Start off with Councillor Mallet and then Councillor Marie.
Observation, just so that put it in context with what we paid for the key. At the moment I'm paying £230 for a 3-day event. Now my question here was seeing charity or community small event £50. Is that for the event or is that per day? I think we might have an answer.
Thank you.
Per day.
That's per day, we've been told.
Yes, sorry, I haven't written it, but I asked exactly that question this morning. I also, if I can go through the questions and answers, that might help a little bit in terms of some of the things. So, are there insurance implications? We've got public liability insurance that encompasses STC premises, so it would cover Cowleys Meadow. Parking for events, is the charge incurred by the hirer, is it a per day charge? Yes. This is the hirers of the parking who pay, it's the same for part or all day, so it's per day, and even if it's only part of a day. And the other thing I asked about whether there was a cut-off time in the evening, and there would normally be a cut-off time of 11 o'clock in the evening, but it would be discussed with the events organisers on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. Again, comparing it to use of the key, we have reenactors, and I know that the Medieval Trust have reenactors staying overnight in context. Would overnights be permissible on Cowleys?
Right, we'd have to take advice on that, because in the questions to the property manager, I don't know if it's in your ones, he actually envisaged that it would be closed from 2300 hours at night, so I'd have to get back to you on that. That's the only trouble with but I do know about the reenactors because I have assisted with them parking on the field. So, Councillor Marine.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Speaker. We need to clarify that because in the past we have had cars parking in there overnight, staying there because especially for Canal Weekend, obviously people have been drinking, they can't drive home, it's legal, so they their cars there. However, the event organisers always used to lock it with the cars inside to stop illegal encampments, because that's one of the big things. That's what we used to do. Yeah, exactly that. My personal opinion, I'm dead against this. I think it's another nail in the coffin for the events teams for them more money that they can't make for funding, to pay for more things regarding the hiring of land bits and pieces. But that just needs to be clarified regarding the parking. Also, needs to be clarified how many parking spaces are available for the parking, because I've heard the rumour of only 50 cars. Now sometimes that can't be, sometimes there's more than that can fit on there. So and also it's at certain times, because sometimes, like now, it can be dry down this end of the cut, but it's also very boggy down the far end, so that needs to be clarified as well.
Indeed. Okay, Councillor Morehouse and then Councillor Mallow.
With reference to the additional costs that have been imposed by event organisers by DDC, down to bad management and bad communication, I would believe it to be prudent to delay this until the 1st of April, rather than introducing it more or less straight away, to allow the events organisers to come up with ways of raising additional funding to accommodate this. Because as Councillor Marie's just suggested, we've already been hit hard with the extra fees that have been imposed by DDC, but we have tried to overturn 3 of us councillors, myself being one of them, referred it back to the Cabinet to be overturned. The Cabinet refused to debate it. But, I believe that it would be prudent to at least wait until April 1st next year and then introduce it for next year's event season. I think the events organisers have been kicked in the teeth enough for 1 year.
Yeah,
Agree, yeah. Okay, thank you for those comments. Councillor Mallow.
Yes, I reiterate that. However, even being an events organiser who is very tight in their pockets, the amounts proposed I think are reasonable. But as has been said, give us a year just to sort of swallow the poison that Dover District Council have fed us, because the fees that I'm seeing have gone up from £0 to £900 to take on the car park, and I've actually had to say we don't have physically we do not have the money. We've had suggestions that certain people in Dover District Council will assist us in fundraising. In between then, a couple of weeks ago, and in a week's time, they then go on leave. So why they even suggested that was a bit of a nonsense. But as I said, saying, if it's something we can plan ahead for, £50 is reasonable. With regard to 1st of May, if there can be an addendum to that to say allowing for condition of the ground, because last year it was sodden on the 1st of May and couldn't be used, and I wouldn't want to give people an idea that the 1st of May was a point where they can start to use tractors or whatever.
Yeah. Councillor Marie and then Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I completely agree with Councillor Mayor and Councillor Morehouse. £60 for the towns, £60 for the square per day for Saturday, Sunday, plus £50 per day for the Cowleys Meadow. That's £110 per day, and also the money that they have to pay for the parking fees. If Councillor Morehouse wants to propose that, if we need to defer it to next year for the start of next year, so that the events can take over. It's also the fact that it's 40s weekend this weekend, and also if it starts as of next month, then 40s miss, and then it'll be others that have to pay for it. And I see that a bit unfair. Maybe they may pay for it in an invoice part away, but I do feel that it should be deferred until next year.
Councillor Anderson's comments and then Councillor Chuka's final comments.
This is a somewhat frivolous remark, but what we're talking about is trying to generate income for Cowleys Meadow, and the clue is in the name. Have inquiries been made as to whether cows can be kept and generate an income?
We did used to have livestock.
Yes, and it's very attractive. I mean, there are horses back in that other field now.
There are.
And it is part of the appeal, that there are animals right in the middle of Sandwich.
Yeah.
So I just wondered whether inquiries have been made of local farmers that might be able to use her.
I don't believe we have, so. And then the last.
And pay money for it.
I suppose, of course, if we use it for other purposes, it will no longer be a car park. But that's
it
wouldn't be being frivolous about. The issue is we've got a report in front of us that has 2 elements to it. One is about events on the meadow, so we shouldn't somehow get that consumed in this presentation from councillors who are deep into the events themselves. So we have to be a bit careful about that. In terms of what's proposed, It's about trying to address the fact that it costs the council money to maintain that for anybody that uses it, be it events or others. So cutting the grass is one element. So I think that's what the property manager has tried to do, is look at it from that perspective. And I recognise Councillor Mallett's appreciation of the fees that have been put forward, and I've seen them at the same time as you have. But the question is, if we don't cover the costs, then we're out of pocket as a council, so we have to recognise that in terms of any decision we arrive at. But I wouldn't want to lose by deferring potentially the whole report for a period of time, because this is about also generating income in terms of events on the meadow itself. So it almost is getting caught up in that.
It is indeed, it is indeed. So what I've witnessed here tonight is there's not much appetite, first of all, for the fees, but possibly from the events organisers. Also noted that it's the wrong time to bring this in from Councillor Morehouse, and we've had a succinct explanation from Councillor Chuka that there is some minimal costs that have got to be covered by it. And this, in summing up, it seems like this report isn't covering it. It's not looking into the use of livestock on the field that could generate an income whilst cutting the grass at the same time. So that is a very valid point, Councillor Anderson, and thank you for raising that. And it's also at the wrong time to introduce these. So from my point of view, I'd like to put a proposal forward that we defer the introduction of fees until next year, and we reconsider this in the new year. Before the so deferring it until, say, January, February time to reconsider the situation, because the field has been cut. I've been down there recently. The field's already been cut, and it will probably only get one or two other cuts during the summer. And the council had not initially budgeted any income for the cuts this year. So the cuts to that field are already paid in the budget for this year. So there's no necessity. So my proposal would be to defer this until 2026. That's what I'd like to go forward with. So.
Regards events on Cowleys Meadow, by doing that you have no opportunity for events to have a pricing structure. This was including a pricing structure of events on Cowleys Meadow. By pushing it back a year, that doesn't leave the property manager any scope for having a conversation through a councillor determined set of charges that we want to apply. That can't be right.
Well, we've not had any events on the field.
So we've got a property manager. We haven't had a property manager before. So
what is he based in? Town clerk first.
Sorry, yes, we have an outstanding inquiry, and they have been chasing me because they want a decision. And I've been saying to them there isn't a policy at the moment for allowing them, and they want 4 or 5 visits this year.
Right.
So this is why.
Aware of that.
Yes, this is why I spoke to the property manager, because we don't have a policy at the moment. I don't have a fee to charge.
No, I agree with that. I agree. I know why you bring it. I didn't know we had any.
Yes.
So, Councillor Wiles, and then
would a compromise on this be to say we don't have charges this year for charity or community events, but we do for commercial events, if there are people who wish to use it commercially?
We could do that.
Could I just say that I lived in Cambridge for 30 years, and the commons in the centre of the town, Coldham's Common, Midsummer Common, outside King's College, all had livestock on during the summer months, and they were moved on and off because fairs and events took place.
Exactly.
If you get a good contract with a livestock manager, they can move on and move off.
We had that before on Cowleys Meadow.
If the stream along the rope walk starts to flow, having flowing water and cows would be fantastic.
Councillor Morehouse.
In the car park, another issue that needs to run in conjunction with this is the future of that building, the former laboratory block. I've seen a succession of businesses going into there and coming out of there, and it's just going to stand there idle for years and years. Some decision needs to be made on what's going to be done with that building, because that would then improve the access into Cowleys Meadow.
Would. Unfortunately, it's in private ownership.
There's a planning application to turn it into a house.
Yeah, so it's as well.
Oh, is there? Oh, that's for those of you that have been here long enough, that came up before, an application to turn it into a house as well, and of course that got turned down, so, but thank you for raising that, but that issue is a perennial issue. Unfortunately, the property is in private hands, and they're perfectly within their rights to put a planning application in on it, but that's not actually for discussion tonight. So, okay, so now being advised about the commercial applications, I didn't know about that.
I wouldn't say it's commercial, Mr Mayor, that's just what I'm saying, we are having requests from people that are saying they're community or events, as we know in the room. And what we really wanted was direction from the council, whether you're allowing parking. If you are, can you please agree the policy and the fee structure?
Yeah.
Or are we saying we're not allowing any parking at all, and it just remains as a meadow?
Which
or
is
we
the
have
property manager
livestock?
wants that. Yeah,
Well,
so,
I think that would be the easiest approach if we say there is no parking at all, because it appears there's lots of difference of opinions.
exactly.
And this is what we're up against, is people are coming to us and saying, we want to use the site.
I understand.
And so I've had to put somebody off for 3 months now, and they're getting a bit frustrated because I'm saying it's going back and forwards and I'm waiting on a decision.
Indeed.
So I'm not putting pressure on anybody, but I just would like some sort of direction that we can use and then use when we're
Indeed.
approached.
I just want to protect the
Can I
events organisers.
just say, if the council stop cars parking in there for the events, this town will be gridlocked for 4 weekends at a time. And also, because obviously the DVC parking charges now, that will cost us even more money to close more roads, to close parking spaces off. We cannot allow the council to stop cars parking in there in the summer. The events are one of the biggest money makers in the town for all the businesses in the town. And if we stop it, you might as well just make the Guildhall forecourt into a car park, because that's what will happen eventually.
Exactly. Indeed. Oh, Councillor Pennington.
Yes, thank you. I've listened with interest to all the points that were made. I rest with Councillor Mallett's 2 points, as I understood it. One was that £50 is possible, but it should be kept to that for 1 year. The second relates to the state of the ground. And I mean, I would support any decision to go ahead, given the conditions that he suggested.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, because on the report it says £30 for parking, £50 for event, £40 for parking for commercial. If the amount was £20, and I appreciate it's per day, certainly for my event, I'm speaking with 2 hats here, of course. That's £60. I would say that's affordable.
Yeah.
When you start getting £90, then we're starting to talk. It's about 100 almost, and it's not so affordable. If that could be £20 for charity events, £40 as it was for commercial events, and then leave everything the same, started on the 1st of May, like in 2 days' time, we can do that, and it just cuts through everything. And I'm sure the vote mail is 2 days, £40. It's not over the, it's not too much.
Okay, so we've now learnt that we have got some events organisers that wish to use the field, but we're not sure they're not commercial ones, so they could be charitable ones. We're not sure on that one there.
Can I ask when they're proposing the dates to use the Cowleys Meadow for these events? Is there a date?
I haven't got the dates yet, so because they're asking me, what's the policy and can they use the site? So I haven't actually got the dates yet. But obviously I'm mindful that the events that are in the calendar each year, obviously I wouldn't agree that they can use the space if I know there's another event that's normally on it in the year. Is that what your concern, Councillor?
Yeah, no, just my idea would be in the case of that, if that's the case of we don't know the dates of that, well then we defer this completely wait until we've got details of the group that want to hire the event, or hire the space for the event, whether they're a community event, charity, or whether they're commercial, and then leave it as it is for the time being, so that it'll allow the community events to run, especially the next one, 40s, obviously, maybe to start this, if Councillor Morehouse said next year, or when just before Folk&L comes in, that's July. Or because before in that, we've got French weekend in the weekend in June. So I don't know if anyone else wants to.
I do see there is a problem here with that, Councillor Marie, because what the problem is obviously the town clerk and the property manager are looking for a policy and a pricing structure. So unfortunately, we need to support the staff, because obviously when they get inquiries, they can then follow the guidelines of a policy and pricing structure. So when somebody comes to them, so we do need this document. We do need a policy. We do need a staffing, a pricing structure. But from this report and what's been said tonight, I think this really needs to go back and be addressed to allow for the change in the parking, because as the events organisers have said, per day it's going to kill our events off. So
the other thing is, can I just say, Councillor Chair, can I just say one more thing? So you've just said as well that the money has already been budgeted for the cutting of the calories. So that's another question. Because the way I see it, if that's the case, this is just a little money-making scheme from the council to make more money. That's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. Everyone else here is. So if that's the case, I do feel maybe we need to clarify their event, whether they're a community event, whether they're commercial, and what the dates they want to use it for. Because if we simply put this all in, and I just feel that we need to come up with some more clarifications regarding the people that are doing the events.
So I was just going to say that, so we've got two elements to this report. One is for events on Cowleeds Meadow.
Yeah.
And those charges are proposed there. Now, in some respects, I think they align with the forecourts. I could be wrong, but I think they're similar, if not the same. So I'm not sure what the problem will be on that. The issue might be about parking to go to events elsewhere. Now that's £30 per day is what's suggested. And we might want to separate that out and have that as, because it hasn't been charging for events elsewhere up to this point. Maybe we want to take more time to make sure that we're content with whatever charges there are. But I think in terms of using the space itself, the property manager needs a direction from us in terms of what we want to say when somebody wants to run an event on Cowleeds Meadow, what the charge is for doing so.
that's
Now,
correct.
we did start from
That's
yourself saying that there haven't been any, to the town clerk saying there's somebody knocking on the door. So we just need to have a structure in place, and that might be zero, or it might be what's been proposed here.
Yeah.
We can't move forward in terms of inquiries until we've got a structure in place.
And sorry, there is an inquiry for parking as well, so it's an organisation that wants to use it for parking as well, so.
I didn't know any of this, so this is all totally new. I think Councillor Franklin and I will tell you I mean, the only events that I've seen was what was the one where the medieval event, Councillor as well. And I mean, you're talking about 10 years ago was the last event I saw that was held on that field. Anyway, we do need to have a pricing structure and a policy. It just depends whether people, so really this has been presented to us, it just depends whether there's appetite to accept this as it is. So I propose that we vote on what has been put in front of us.
Can I propose £20, not 30, per day for charity event parking?
Elsewhere.
Elsewhere. The reason being is yes, £30 is not unaffordable, but we're paying for everything else elsewhere. We're already paying £230. You then add up another 90. That's where it
we fully understand that.
Can't afford it.
So the proposals going forward is we are whether to accept this with the amendment of just £20 for parking. So let me clarify, it's this report, it's this document, with the rest of the policy and structure that is needed by the staff, but just with the change to £20 for the standalone parking. So I'm proposing that. Would anybody like to second that? Councillor Pennington seconding that, and all those in favour? You can vote abstain or vote against.
Or vote for.
Yeah,
Or vote for. Oh, sorry. Yeah, or vote for. So
One against.
I'm not allowed to vote.
No.
and
Are you
was
voting?
that abstention?
One abstention.
I'm the same.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So it's one abstention, one against.
That's it. So thank you very much, councillors. That has been passed now, so the staff can get on with the inquiries and things like that. Oh, the thing that I meant to say to you all, so I had this lovely thank you card, and the other day, I don't know if you know, in the annual town meeting, Harry Sampson also thanked the council for if any of you weren't there, he thanked the council for the £2,000 we gave to the Folk and Ale Festival. And this lovely card and letter here that I had to bring in to show you was from Carol George, and she was thanking all of you for the £2,000 that we've given to the Sandwich and Bloom. So I'd just like to say that your efforts and your generosity have gone a long way in this town. And with the chiming of the bells, I'd just like to say item number 16 is the date of the next full council meeting, which is the 15th of May 2025 at 6 p.m. Thank you very much for attending and your discussions this evening.
Thank you.